Hey, my name's Evan Thorpe. With me, Stephen Ruiz, and today we'll be previewing and predicting the NFC East. So first off, let's start with the Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year they had 13 wins. Vegas has them at 10.5 for next year. Do you think they will get that, or do you think they might fall off?
I mean, it's hard to say just because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be week one or even in September. For that reason, I'm going to take the under. Because if Nick Foles is starting, you don't know if the league's going to catch up to him. The Eagles had to change their offense a lot just to play to his strengths. So unless Carson Wentz is back, I just don't see the offense being as good as it was last year.
All right, so next up we have the team that finished second in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys. They finished with 9 wins, kind of underachieving from what they did the previous year. Do you see Dallas looking more like that 2016, 2017 team, or what we saw last year?
With Vegas's win total, 8.5, they could be last year's team and still get the over. And I think they're going to be at least as good as they were last year. They're getting Zeke back for a whole year. Dak should get better from year 2 to year 3, so I could see them winning 9 games easily. I think that's their floor.
All right, so next up we have probably the team that didn't improve that much in the offseason. They did have a quarterback change, but the Washington Redskins, Vegas has them tying their record from last year, 7 wins. Do you see this team improving, or do you think they might take a step down with the quarterback change?
So I agree with you that they didn't really add anything to the roster. They didn't add much, but I think they didn't need to just because how many injuries they had last year. They did add Paul Richardson from Seattle, which gives them a deep threat, which they haven't had since they lost to Sean Jackson. I think it's 2 years ago. And then you got to talk about the Alex Smith acquisition. I think he's better. He's not a better passer than Kirk Cousins, but what he can do in the running game, he's more athletic, obviously. They can do more read option stuff. That improves the running game, which was dismal last year. So I'm saying 9 wins around there. They might get 8, they might get 10, depending on their breaks. I think they're an 8-win team.
So far, the NFC East will likely have 3 teams above 500 this year, and this last team was probably the worst team in the NFC East. The New York Giants, 3 wins. But Vegas has them winning at least 6.5 games. So do you have them being that only team under 500, or do you see this team as well being up there?
No, I think they're going to be under 500. I think at their best, maybe 7 wins. Eli's a year older. That means his arm strength's a little worse than it was last year.
He might just throw 2 more interceptions than he did last year.
And they're relying on a rookie running back. We expect Saquon Barkley to be good, but you can never know with rookie running backs.
But with the full healthy Odell Beckham, I think that adds to their offense, and I think it might relieve some of the pressure off of Saquon Barkley to produce in his rookie year.
At the same time, this offense has been bad for 2 years straight, and Odell Beckham was healthy the year before. It was bad when he was healthy last year. They do have a new coach. They have a new offensive coordinator. Ben McAdoo is gone, which could make this offense a lot better. And the defense has to keep playing at the level it's been playing the last 2 years, and I don't know if that's going to happen. So I see the defense taking a step back. I see the offense improving, but not enough where they can close the gap with the other teams in the division.
All right, so now we're about to go into some rapid-fire questions. First up, who had the best offseason?
I'm going to go with the Eagles just because they were the Super Bowl champs, and we never see Super Bowl champs improve, and somehow the Eagles did. They upgraded Torrey Smith to Mike Wallace. He's a better player, a better deep threat. They added Michael Bennett to a defensive line that was already giving offenses nightmares. Now it's even harder to block.
All right, so who had the worst offseason? I think you kind of hinted towards this, but I want you to give your take. Who had the worst offseason?
I'm not going to say the Giants. I do think they're the worst team in the division, but I'm going to say the Cowboys. Is there anywhere on the roster where they're obviously better than they were last year? I don't think so. The pass rush is still iffy. They're getting some guys back from suspension, but they also lost David Irving to suspension. They franchise tagged Randy Gregory, or DeMarcus Lawrence, sorry. They're getting Randy Gregory back. They drafted Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State. I don't know how much does he improve the defense. Is he even going to see the field a lot if Sean Lee stays healthy, which is a big if, obviously. And then offensively, they lose Des Bryant. I think that might be an addition by subtraction, but they didn't replace him. Allen Hurns is your number 1 receiver. I just don't. And they lost Jason Witten. That's your third down security blanket.
So with that, who's on the hot seat?
The default answer is always Jason Garrett. But Jerry Jones came out this week, and he said Jason Garrett's not on the hot seat. But I'm going to go with Jay Gruden. He's been there for, I think, 5 years now. They've only gone to the playoffs once. They haven't won a playoff game. If he doesn't produce a playoff caliber team, I think the Redskins move on.
All right, so the biggest X factor that will determine this division is what?
And we've already mentioned this. It's the quarterback situation in Philadelphia. If Wentz is healthy, it's Philly. They're the big favorites. If he's not healthy, that allows the other teams to kind of close the gap. I think the Cowboys have a chance if Wentz isn't healthy for, say, 13 games.
All right, with that, who will win this division?
I'm going to stick with the Eagles. I know the quarterback situation is dicey. I just don't think the Cowboys improved enough to close that gap.